let's catch up on the chat here. Thank you all for sitting with us through that. I don't know if you want to call it a monologue or a rant or whatever the case may be. Lots to unpack here, and we'll revisit this after we catch up on the chat because we have some questions that I think a lot of fans are asking here that need to be answered. But good evening to our friend Matthew Owens here. Can't wait for this. Well,
it was 30 minutes of what did I just watch?
Hope we did the best. We hope we didn't let you down there, Matthew. Adam, good to see you as well. That was a wild and crazy race to me. You don't wreck somebody to win. I think payback is coming for Austin Dillon. Totally agree there. Good to see you as well. Seth, hope you're enjoying your bowl of popcorn, your favorite soft drink, whatever you've got going on tonight. Good to see you in the chat. Thank you, Adam, for the support. Blaze, great to see you here in the chat room as well. I think the words you're looking for are so far beyond proper comprehension. Yeah, I mean, it's beyond, like, I mean, 2 or 3 times tonight so far, I've just drawn a blank. I've run out of superlatives to describe the state of this sport and where we are at right now.
But at the same time, I'm not surprised. Like, it wasn't too much of a shock. Yeah. It was just, oh, now we've done it. Like, now we're at this level.
Spinning the 22, I don't think anybody was surprised. I think the right rear hook on the 11. I mean, that was what completely separated this one for me. I'm not saying I was surprised by that either, but I think that was the one that kind of still blindsided me a little bit.
Yeah, he had to make that decision in 0.3 seconds, and that's what he did.
Yep. Tragedy of it all. He had speed all weekend. Yeah. I mean, again, it would have been a very good story in a year, in a season that has been completely lacking of those.
Come on, Ryan Preece. Come on. Pocono too.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. Indianapolis.
Indianapolis. Yeah. Yep. I mean, just unfortunate. Adam agrees with Seth there. Matthew, it's chicken and egg question. Is it the fault of a driver or of a system? If this was 1997, a driver team 32nd in points wouldn't dare do anything to risk a runner-up finish and do something so dumb there. Yeah. I mean,
you'd be banned from the sport.
And yeah, and Matthew texted me this morning. Didn't get a chance to catch the morning drive, but I think I don't want to verbatim quote Pete Pistone here. And again, respect Pete Pistone. He's accomplished a lot in the sport. He and I do not agree on much. And I respect his opinion here. I do agree that for Dillon to get out of the car and say I did what I had to do there at the end is absolute garbage. So if I assume that was the black flag that he was hinting at that he gave on the show this morning, but according to Matthew, again, haven't listened to the show, can't verify it myself, but he essentially said that blaming the system for this is a cop-out. Now, Pete Pistone has also said that, people like me need to get to some sort of group to get over myself over the fact that it's been 20 years and this is the system that we have now and we're not going back, nor should we. So, that shows you what side of the playoff argument that he's on. But I think that it can be both. You can like this system, but I think you have to acknowledge that, as Matthew points out here, this does not happen if a playoff berth is on the line. This does not happen if it's a full season championship and there are incentives for every position in the standings.
Exactly.
And you're going to risk second place points on that. That's just, I don't know. I mean, and again, people bringing up Dale Earnhardt at Richmond. Kyle Petty won that race. Dale Earnhardt didn't even get the win that night.
You talk about Dale Earnhardt. I forget where it was on X, but someone, they said there's a big difference between using up a driver and abusing a driver. Dale Earnhardt would have used a driver. He used them to his advantage. He never outright abused a car. And I don't think you can go back to any footage of Dale Sr. and say he abused somebody with his vehicle.
Seth Eves, the spot over 3. Yeah, and this is something we didn't touch on very much. The spot over 3 needs to face some repercussions for his comments too. I did get to watch David Land's video. David Land posted, I think, about 14 minutes worth of thoughts here on his channel earlier tonight. And in outlining his predictions on what's going to happen, he essentially said if there's going to be a suspension, it's going to be for the spotter for those comments across the radio. The false Dale, I think, is what he he deemed Austin Dillon, or dubbed Austin Dillon to be, which I think is pretty fitting, given that those comparisons are still somehow being made. But
Austin Villain.
Yeah, there you go.
Not mine. I just found that too.
Yeah, but again, I think that if there's going to be a suspension, I can't imagine NASCAR is going to take too kindly to those comments coming over the radio there. So we'll see. I guess we'll know in about 24 hours here. We'll see what the penalty report says tomorrow, and I'm sure that they'll react to that on grid tonight. I know from discussions that we've had in our Slack that we know what one of Matt White's knots is going to be this week. I think a lot of people's knots this finish. So stay tuned for that later in the week. Matthew Owens, my problem with the idea of taking the win away from a driver that does this is who then do you give the win to? Tyler Reddick, he wasn't done wrong. He only benefited from Austin's actions. Well, I think, let me just pull up. I'm pretty sure Hamlin was scored second. Let me pull up the results here just to make sure. Yeah, there you go. I think they said that the caution, I'm assuming the reasoning was because the caution came out for the Logano spin and Hamlin had gotten put into the wall. And I guess they said it was like a Greg Biffle, Kansas 2007, where he maintained reasonable enough speed that he didn't lose his position from when the caution came out. That's the only way I can imagine Hamlin being scored second here and not Tyler Reddick. So I guess if you were to DQ Austin Dillon, as of right now, you would give the win to Denny Hamlin. But then there would be an argument again about when did the caution lights come on? Did Denny Hamlin maintain? So I don't know who you give the. I think you can make a case for Tyler Reddick as well. I don't know. I mean, there's again so many layers to this that it's maddening sitting here trying to go through all of them.
Well, we won't have to worry about that one because the win isn't going to be taken away. I would assume because, like you said, it would have already been done last night if that was their motive. Yeah, the only way that was being done is if it was. They could have made a split-second call. They're not going to take it away 24 hours later, or the car fails tech and he loses the race. I mean, that's the only way. That was the only way that was going to happen. Seth. Okay, so Seth. Guess he had to run, so that's unfortunate, but glad that he got to contribute to the discussion here. And he says, "I'll jump ahead of the curve." Shout out to Daniel Dye. Absolutely, another solid run for him. And solid season that he's having, turning it around. Drive reminiscent of Mayfield, Vickers, and Gordon and Richmond cutoff races of the past. One of the most improved drivers. Absolutely. And we'll get into that here a little bit later on as well as we get into our Truck Series recap. One more from Matthew Owens here. The term casual fan continues to be a term that really bothers me. This sport has gotten so obsessed with pandering to that group that we become so separated from what we once were. And I think that, again, the proof of that is pretty much everything that this sport has done in the last 20 years and the directions that it's gone, the path that it's gone down. And again, we could be here all night talking about all of those different things that have happened to this sport. But I still remember, I love this tweet of somebody that values physical media, talking about the playoff system. And I think it was Dave Burns on NBC saying NASCAR's new chase for the Cup format. It's kind of like going from vinyl to CD. Well, here we are 20 years later, and vinyl is once again outselling CDs. It's funny how everything comes around full circle, right? Yep.